You say that avenging my mom is just an excuse, that I killed because I'm fed up with society and frustrated with life. But there are a lot of people unhappy with society, with life. Does that mean they all go out and kill? Anyone who kills has their own reasons. I'm not some kind of lunatic. When he was 13, he witnessed his mother beaten to death with a wooden club. In his mother's final moments, she lay dying in his arms. Later, he watched her body undergo an hour-long public autopsy by the roadside, surrounded by hundreds of onlookers. That day became a nightmare he could never escape. For 22 years, he kept it all inside. Then, 22 years later, he took justice into his own hands, killing 3 members of the family he blamed, in his mother's name. Some say he killed out of social frustration and that he's a monster. Others feel he had every right to avenge his mother. This is the story of Zhang Koukou's revenge, a case that shook the country. Today we're diving into the question, was he a demon, or was he justified? Let's go back to February 15, 2018. The place, Wangping Village in Hanzhong City, Shaanxi Province, China. It's the Chinese New Year. As everyone was celebrating the festive season, a gruesome murder shocked Wangping Village. Villager Wang Zixin, his eldest son Wang Xiaojun, and youngest son Wang Zhengjun were all killed, nearly wiping out the entire family. Only the second son, Wang Fujuan, survived, having been at his girlfriend's house for the holiday. When he came home to the horrific scene, he froze in place, his legs gave out. The police quickly arrived on the scene to investigate. According to witnesses, the attacker was Wang's next-door neighbor, Zhang Koukou. To protect Wang Fujuan from further harm, police assigned him protection while hunting for Zhang Koukou. On the evening of February 16th, around 9 p.m., Zhang Koukou returned home to collect some money. The patrolling officers spotted him, but he jumped over a wall and escaped under cover of darkness. Immediately, the police launched an extensive manhunt. On the morning of February 17th, around 7 a.m., Zhang Koukou turned himself in at the police station. Zhang Koukou was born in 1983 and completed middle school. He enlisted in the military in 2001, serving in Xinjiang for 2 years before returning home in 2003. He worked various jobs outside his hometown. Once apprehended, Zhang confessed to the entire crime. But the story goes back 20 years. The Zhang and Wang families were next-door neighbors, separated by just a wall. Initially, the families had a good relationship, often helping each other when things got busy. However, things changed when a rice processing factory in the village went up for lease. Both families wanted the contract, which led to their first major argument, sowing seeds of resentment. The Zhang family eventually proposed a compromise. They would alternate years operating the factory, starting with the Wangs. The Wangs agreed. But after the first year, when the Wangs made a considerable profit, they refused to hand it over to the Zhangs. From that point, relations between the families deteriorated. Wang Fujuan recalls that on August 27, 1996, Zhang Koukou's mother, Wang Xiaoping, was walking past their house. He was standing by the roadside when Wang Xiaoping spat in his direction, though it didn't hit him. He responded by calling her crazy, but she ignored him and continued on. When she passed by again later, she spat at him a second time, this time hitting him in the face. Wang Fujuan immediately slapped her, sparking a heated argument. Hearing the commotion, members of both families rushed outside. Wang Xiaoping grabbed an iron bar and struck Wang Zhengjun on the head. Wang Zhengjun then picked up a wooden stick and struck her in the head, knocking her to the ground. She was rushed to the village clinic but later died from her injuries. That same day, Wang Xiaoping's body was taken to the village roadside for an autopsy. Zhang Koukou, his father, and his sister watched the entire procedure. On December 5, 1996, the local court issued a verdict in the case. The court found Wang Zhengjun guilty of intentional injury leading to death. However, since he was under 18, admitted guilt, and his father covered funeral expenses, along with the fact that Wang Xiaoping had instigated the conflict, the court decided on a lenient sentence. Wang Zhengjun received a 7-year prison sentence. In terms of civil compensation, The court ruled that Wang Zhengjun should compensate Zhang Furu for economic losses. But given that Wang Zhengjun was a minor, a student, and came from a financially struggling family, the court ruled that his guardian, Wang Zixin, would pay a one-time compensation of $1,400 to Zhang Furu. Neither side appealed the verdict. However, Zhang Koukou's father, Zhang Furu, and his sister, Zhang Libo, disagreed with Wang Fujuan's account. They claimed that it was Wang Fujuan, the second son, who struck Wang Xiaoping with the wooden stick, not Wang Zhengjun, the youngest son, as the court ultimately ruled. The Zhang family also couldn't accept the civil compensation amount. They had originally requested $35,000 to cover funeral costs, support, and other expenses, but the court awarded them just $1,400. Although they were deeply dissatisfied, the Zhang family ultimately accepted the judgment without appeal. However, Zhang Koukou's hatred never faded with time. In early 2018, he returned to his hometown for Chinese New Year. He noticed that Wang Zhengjun, who rarely visited home, had also returned for the holiday. A thought crossed his mind. This might be his best chance to finally get revenge. Zhang prepared a single-edged knife, gasoline, Molotov cocktails, a hat, and a mask, carefully observing the Wang's routines. Before acting, he withdrew all his savings, around $5,000, and gave it to his father, instructing him to use it to buy seeds and fertilizer the following year. His father, Zhang Furu, didn't find anything unusual about this. Then came the New Year's holiday. Following local customs, every family was heading to the cemetery to honor their ancestors. Early in the morning, Zhang's father headed up the mountain. Before he left, Zhang Koukou reminded him to come back early so they could prepare the New Year's Eve dinner together. Around noon, Zhang saw from his house that Wang Zixin, Wang Xiaojun, Wang Zhengjun, and some relatives had returned home and were preparing to visit their family grave. Zhang put on his hat and mask, grabbed the knife he'd hidden, and followed them to the edge of the village. As Wang Zhengjun and Wang Xiaojun returned, Zhang attacked, stabbing Wang Zhengjun several times in the neck, chest, and abdomen. He then turned to Wang Xiaojun, stabbing him repeatedly in the chest and abdomen. After confirming Wang Xiaojun was dead, Zhang returned to where Wang Zhengjun had fallen and stabbed him several more times to make sure he was gone. After killing the brothers, Zhang went to their father Wang Zixin's home. He stabbed Wang Zixin multiple times in the chest, abdomen, and neck, killing him. Following these 3 murders, Zhang returned to his home, grabbed a cleaver, gasoline, and a Molotov cocktail, smashed the windows of Wang Xiaojun's car, and poured gasoline inside before setting it on fire. The entire attack took place in front of shocked villagers. Though he wore a mask, everyone recognized him immediately. Afterward, some of Zhang's relatives tried to persuade him to turn himself in, but he pushed them away, saying he had finally avenged his mother after 22 long years. Then he fled. According to Zhang's later testimony, he had planned to eliminate the entire Wang family. The only reason he didn't was that Wang Fujuan, the second son, never showed up. He thought if he didn't act on New Year's Eve, he might never have another chance to catch them all at once. The autopsy report revealed that Wang Zhengjun sustained 24 stab wounds, Wang Xiaojun 9, and their father Wang Zixin 16, with every wound aimed at vital spots, making it clear that Zhang had intended to kill. Afterward, Zhang bought incense paper and went to his mother's grave to tell her the news. Then he turned himself in. In an attempt to get leniency for his son, Zhang Furu filed a petition with the Hanzhong City Court on July 31, 2018, asking for a review of the 1996 case in which his wife Wang Xiaoping had been killed. However, on October 19, 2018, the Hanzhong Intermediate People's Court rejected the petition. Undeterred, Zhang Furu filed another petition with the Shaanxi Provincial Court on November 15, 2018, which then reviewed several issues, including whether Wang Zhengjun was under 18 at the time of the incident, whether there had been any substitution of responsibility, and whether the compensation amount had been fair. The court confirmed that Wang Zhengjun was indeed a minor, 17 years old at the time, and that multiple eyewitnesses verified he alone had killed Wang Xiaoping, with no substitution involved. On January 8, 2019, the Hanzhong court held a public trial for Zhang Koukou on charges of intentional homicide and property damage. In court, Zhang claimed he attacked the Wang family solely to avenge his mother's death at Wang Jingjuan's hands. Zhang's defense attorney argued that Zhang displayed abnormal heart activity upon entering detention, possibly due to psychological issues, and requested a psychiatric evaluation. The court rejected this request, ruling that Zhang showed no signs of mental illness. That same day, the court sentenced Zhang Koukou to death for intentional homicide, along with a 4-year prison sentence for property damage. The sentences were combined, resulting in a death penalty and permanent deprivation of political rights. Zhang Koukou appealed immediately, but on April 11, 2019, the Shaanxi Provincial Court upheld the original ruling, stating that, regardless of Zhang's motivations, he had no right to take another's life. The decision was sent to the Supreme People's Court for approval. On July 17, 2019, the Supreme Court upheld the death sentence, and Zhang Koukou was executed by the Shaanxi Provincial Court. It's truly a tragic story. So what do you think of Zhang Koukou? Do you believe he deserved the death penalty? Or was there a more just punishment?